At a wedding we attended, my husband danced with his female best friend all night while ignoring me. When someone asked if he was married, he said, "Not really. It doesn't count when she's boring." They laughed. I was standing right behind them at the bar. They didn't see me. My hands were shaking so badly I had to put down my wine glass before I dropped it. I stood there for maybe 10 seconds, frozen while their laughter echoed in my ears. Then something clicked in my brain. Not rage, something colder. I walked back to our table and sat down. Stephen's Aunt Janet was still there watching the dance floor with a worried expression. "Anna, dear, are you sure you're all right?" "I'm fine," I said. My voice sounded normal, calm, even just tired, but I wasn't fine, and I wasn't tired. I was done. I opened my phone and checked the storage. Plenty of space. I opened the voice recorder app, the one I used for work meetings, and hit record. Then I slipped the phone into my clutch, microphone facing out, and walked back toward the bar. Stephen and Alyssa were still there, drinks in hand, completely oblivious. I positioned myself about 6 feet away, close enough to hear, but far enough not to be noticed. The music was loud, but their voices carried. "Alyssa, you look incredible tonight," Stephen said. That tone, the one he used to use with me. "You're not so bad yourself," she replied. "Where's the boring wife?" They laughed again. My phone was recording every word, probably organizing the napkins by color or something, Stephen said. More laughter. I stood there for another 5 minutes capturing everything. Him complaining about how I stopped trying after the wedding. Her saying he deserved someone more adventurous. Him agreeing. Then I went back to the table and waited, but Janet had left to dance with her husband. I sat alone watching my husband of 3 years destroy our marriage one dance at a time, and I kept recording. Over the next hour, I made 3 more trips to different spots near them. Each time I collected more evidence. At the dessert table, I recorded him telling his college friend Greg that marriage was basically a prison sentence. By the photo booth, I caught Alyssa asking when he was finally going to leave me. "Soon," he said. "I'm just waiting for the right time." At 10:47 p.m., I checked my recording. 53 minutes of audio, clear voices, undeniable words. At 11:15 p.m., the DJ announced the last dance. Stephen finally remembered I existed. He walked over to our table, loosening his tie, looking pleased with himself. "Ready to go?" he asked casually, like he hadn't just spent 4 hours humiliating me in front of everyone we knew. I looked up at him, smiled. "Actually, I need to do something first." "What?" "Make an announcement." His face changed. "Anna, what are you?" But I was already walking toward the DJ booth. My heels clicked on the hardwood floor. The DJ, a guy in his 20s with kind eyes, saw me coming. "Can I borrow the mic?" I asked, just for a minute. He looked uncertain, glancing toward the bride and groom. They were on the dance floor, wrapped up in their own world. "Please," I said. "It's important." Something in my face must have convinced him. He handed over the microphone. I turned to face the reception. 300 people, 300 witnesses. "Excuse me, everyone," I said. My voice echoed through the speakers. The room went quiet. The music stopped. "I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I need to say something." Stephen was frozen by our table, his face pale. "I want to thank everyone for coming tonight to celebrate Owen and Elena," I continued. "And I especially want to thank my husband, Stephen, for showing me exactly who he really is." I pulled out my phone, connected it to the aux cord the DJ handed me. "Stephen's been having such a wonderful time tonight, I thought everyone should hear." I pressed play. His voice filled the room through every speaker crystal clear. "Not really. It doesn't count when she's boring." Laughter on the recording. "Where's the boring wife?" "Probably alphabetizing something," Stephen said. I saw his mother Patricia at a nearby table, close enough to have heard. She'd always been polite to me, but never warm. Our eyes met across the room, and I waited for shock or disappointment on her face. Instead, she gave me this small, knowing smile and turned back to her conversation like nothing happened. That smile told me everything. She'd known about Stephen's feelings for months, maybe years, and had never once thought to warn me or defend me, because deep down she'd always agreed with him. I stopped the recording mid-sentence and let the silence hang there. People were staring, some with their mouths open, some looking at Stephen, some looking at me. I didn't say anything else. I just unplugged my phone, handed the microphone back to the DJ, and walked off the stage. My legs felt weird, like they weren't quite attached to my body. Stephen was suddenly there, right in front of me, his face red. "Anna, what the hell was that?" People were watching us. I could feel their eyes. I kept walking, right past him, right through the reception hall doors, and out into the parking lot. The cold air hit my face, and I realized I was crying, but not the way I expected. Not sobbing, just tears running down my cheeks like my body was doing it without asking me first. I pulled out my phone and ordered an Uber, 2 minutes away. I heard the door slam open behind me. "Anna!" Stephen was running toward me, dress shoes clicking on the pavement. "Anna, stop!" I didn't stop. I walked to the edge of the parking lot where the Uber said it would pick me up. Stephen caught up, grabbing my arm. I pulled away. "Don't touch me. You can't just..." He was breathing hard. "You can't just do that in there and then leave. We need to talk about this." I laughed. It came out wrong, sharp. "Talk about what, Stephen? About how you've been trash-talking me all night? About how your best friend knows you want to leave me before I do?" "You took it out of context," he said. His voice was getting louder. I was joking, Anna. It was a joke." The Uber pulled up, a silver Toyota. I opened the door. It didn't sound like a joke. Stephen grabbed the door before I could close it. "Anna, please. You're being insane right now. Everyone in there thinks you're psychotic." I looked at him, really looked at him. 3 years. 3 years of telling myself he loved me, that his comments were just him being honest, that I was too sensitive. "Good," I said. "Then you won't have to be embarrassed by your boring wife anymore." I pulled the door shut. The driver, a woman in her 50s, glanced back at me. "You okay, honey?" "Yeah," I said. Just go. She pulled away. Through the back window, I could see Steven standing there in the parking lot, his hands up like he was still trying to explain something. Then we turned a corner and he was gone. The driver didn't ask any questions. She turned the music up a little, some soft indie station, and let me sit there in the back seat. I wasn't crying anymore. I wasn't anything. I just stared out the window at the streetlights passing by, one after another, until we got to my apartment. I thanked her. She said, "Whatever happened, you did the right thing." I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded and got out. The apartment was dark. I walked in, kicked my heels off by the door, and looked around. Steven's jacket was on the back of the couch, his shoes by the TV stand, his coffee mug in the sink from this morning. Everything exactly like it was when we left for the wedding 6 hours ago, back when I still thought I was married to someone who loved me. I didn't touch any of it. I walked straight to the bedroom, got into bed fully dressed, makeup still on, and closed my eyes. My phone buzzed. Probably Steven. I turned it off. I woke up to pounding. Loud, aggressive pounding on the door. My phone said 3:17 a.m. The pounding didn't stop. "Anna!" Steven's voice muffled through the door. "Anna, open the fucking door!" I stayed in bed. More pounding. "I know you're in there. You embarrassed me. You took everything out of context and made me look like a piece of shit in front of everyone." I pulled the blanket over my head. He kept yelling. "That you took a joke and made it into this whole thing! Everyone at the wedding thinks you're psychotic. Do you understand that? Everyone!" My upstairs neighbor stomped on the floor. "Shut up down there," Steven kept going. "I'm not leaving until you talk to me like an adult." I grabbed my phone, turned it back on, and called Patricia. It rang 4 times. "Hello?" Her voice was groggy. "Anna? What's wrong? Your son is screaming outside my door at 3 a.m., I said. "Come get him or I'm calling the building manager." Silence. Then, "I'll be there in 20 minutes. She hung up. I put the phone down and waited. Steven was still yelling, but quieter now. More like he was trying to reason with the door. "Anna, come on. Just let me in. We can talk about this." 23 minutes later, the yelling stopped. I heard Patricia's voice sharp and low. "Steven, car, now." "Mom, I just need to." "Now." Footsteps. Then silence. I waited another 5 minutes before getting up and looking through the peephole. The hallway was empty. I went back to bed, but I didn't sleep. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying the recording in my head over and over. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I wasn't sick. I just couldn't imagine sitting at my desk pretending everything was fine. I made coffee, sat on the couch, and looked around the apartment. Steven's stuff was everywhere. His gaming console, his sneakers, his stupid protein powder taking up half the kitchen counter. I couldn't do this. I couldn't sit here surrounded by his things waiting for him to come back and yell at me again. So I got up, found some boxes in the hall closet, and started packing. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was just tired. Every shirt I folded, every book I boxed up, I felt more tired. It took me 6 hours to pack everything. I texted him, "You can pick up your stuff Tuesday at 2 p.m. I'll be at work. My coworker Dan will be here to make sure you only take your things." My phone buzzed immediately. A long paragraph. "Anna, you're throwing away 3 years over nothing. Couples fight. People say things they don't mean. This is so immature. I can't believe you're doing this. We need to actually sit down and talk like adults instead of you running away." I didn't respond. I just turned my phone face down and went back to organizing the boxes. By Monday night, everything was stacked by the door, neat and labeled. Steven's clothes, Steven's books, Steven's kitchen stuff. I asked Dan if he could sit in my apartment Tuesday afternoon, just to make sure nothing went wrong. He didn't even ask why. He just said, "Yeah, of course." Tuesday I went to work. I couldn't focus. I kept checking my phone even though I told Dan not to text me unless there was a problem. At 2:47 p.m., Dan texted. He's gone. Took everything. Left his key on the counter with a note. I waited until 6 p.m. to go home. The apartment felt different. Emptier, obviously, but also lighter somehow. I walked through each room, noticing what was missing. The bookshelf looked half empty. The bathroom counter had space now. The closet had hangers with nothing on them. It didn't. I found the note on the kitchen counter next to Steven's key. "You'll regret this when you calm down." I read it twice, then crumpled it up and threw it away. I started going through the apartment more carefully, looking for anything he might have forgotten. I found a phone charger behind the nightstand, some socks in the laundry, a coffee mug in the cabinet that said "World's Best Husband," a gift from his mom last Christmas. I threw all of it in a garbage bag and put it in the dumpster outside. I didn't change the locks. He'd left his key. I just felt empty. Dan asked if I was okay before he left. I told him yes, but I'd barely eaten anything in 3 days, and I kept forgetting to respond to texts from friends asking what happened at the wedding. Beth texted me Wednesday night. "Hey, I heard what happened. That was horrible. I'm sorry. Do you need anything?" I stared at the message for a long time before responding. "Coffee sometime?" We met Friday at the cafe near my apartment. Beth got there first. Already had a table. She hugged me when I sat down. A real hug, not one of those quick side hug things. "You doing okay?" "Honestly, I don't know." She nodded. "Fair." The barista brought our drinks. Beth waited until he left before she said, "I should have said something earlier. About Steven and Alyssa." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" Beth looked uncomfortable. "They've been close for over a year. Like, really close. Always sitting next to each other at group dinners. Always having inside jokes. Always texting during conversations. I thought about saying something to you multiple times, but I didn't want to start drama over nothing. I'm sorry. I stirred my coffee even though I hadn't added anything to it, so everyone saw it. Not everyone, Beth said. But yeah, some of us noticed. I don't know. I guess we figured if it was really a problem, you would see it too. That sounds so stupid now that I'm saying it out loud. I wasn't mad at Beth. I was just tired. I realized I'd been the only one who didn't see it coming, and everyone else had just let it happen because it was easier than telling me the truth. Did you see them together? Like, together? Beth hesitated. Not kissing or anything, but the way he looked at her. Yeah. We sat there for a while not saying much. Then Beth said, "For what it's worth, what you did at the wedding was kind of iconic." I almost laughed. I humiliated myself in front of 300 people. You exposed him, Beth said. There's a difference. Maybe. I still felt stupid. I started noticing them on Instagram after that. Not like I went looking, but they'd show up in group photos. Steven and Alyssa at a bar, Steven and Alyssa at someone's birthday dinner, Steven and Alyssa at brunch. They weren't hiding it, but they weren't announcing anything either. Just existing in the same spaces, looking comfortable. I checked obsessively for 3 days, hating myself the entire time. Then I blocked both of them and deleted Instagram from my phone. I told myself I was done, but I kept picking up my phone and staring at the empty spot where the app used to be. Muscle memory telling me to check something that wasn't there anymore. 2 weeks later, I ran into Janet at the grocery store. I was in the produce section, trying to figure out if the avocados were ripe, when I heard someone say my name. Anna? I turned. Janet was standing there with a cart full of groceries, looking at me with this expression I couldn't quite read. Hi, Janet. She hesitated like she was deciding something. Then she walked over. How are you holding up? I'm okay, I lied. Janet looked at me for a second, then said, I told Patricia she raised him wrong. I wasn't expecting that. What? She set her purse in the cart. Patricia, Steven's mother. I told her years ago she was making a mistake, always letting him get away with everything, always excusing his behavior. She didn't listen. I didn't know what to say. Janet kept going. I saw how he treated you at family dinners, the interrupting, the correcting you in front of everyone, the way he acted like your opinions were cute but ultimately irrelevant. I should have said something then. I'm sorry. My eyes started burning. It's okay. It's not, Janet said, but I wanted you to know. You weren't imagining it. She squeezed my hand and walked away. I stood there in the produce section holding an avocado, trying not to cry in the middle of Trader Joe's. 2 months passed. I got a small promotion at work, started running again. Something I used to do before I met Steven, but stopped because he always made comments about how long I was gone. Hadn't checked Steven's social media in weeks. I was starting to feel like maybe I'd be okay. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Can we talk? It's important. I knew it was Alyssa. I don't know how, I just knew. I ignored it. The next day, another text. I just need 10 minutes, please. I responded, no. She showed up at my apartment building anyway. The buzzer rang at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday. I ignored it. It rang again and again. Finally, I picked up the intercom. What do you want, Alyssa? Her voice sounded small through the speaker. Please, just 5 minutes. I should have hung up. Instead, I said, I'll come down. Don't come up. I took the stairs, not the elevator. Gave myself time to think. When I pushed through the lobby doors, Alyssa was standing on the sidewalk looking terrible. She'd lost weight. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. Dark circles under her eyes. We stood there for a second, not saying anything. Then Alyssa said, was he like this with you too? Like what? She wrapped her arms around herself even though it wasn't cold. Critical. About everything. The way I dress, the way I cook, how I talk to his friends. He told me last week I'm not as fun as I used to be. I felt something cold settle in my chest. How long have you been together? 3 months? Alyssa said. Officially. I did the math in my head. 3 months ago was late September. The wedding was in early September, before the separation even started. You were together before the wedding, I said. Alyssa's face crumpled. I know. I'm sorry. I almost walked away right there, but something made me stay. Some part of me that needed her to understand. He did the same things to me, I said. The criticism starts small. That dress is fine, but the blue one is better. You're telling the story wrong, let me tell it. Then it gets meaner. Eventually you'll start changing everything about yourself trying to be whoever he wants. And he'll get bored anyway. Tears were running down Alyssa's face now. But he said you were the problem. He said you were controlling and jealous and that's why it didn't work. Of course he did, I said. My voice came out flat. What else would he say? Alyssa wiped her face with her sleeve. He's already been distant with me, staying out late without explanation, being vague about where he goes. I checked his phone last night and saw messages to another woman. Nothing explicit, just flirty. The same way he used to text me when he was still with you. I felt tired again. That same deep exhaustion I'd felt packing his boxes. Do you think he'll change? Alyssa looked at me like I was supposed to save her, like I had some secret answer that would fix everything. I don't know. Do you? I thought about it, really thought about it. He doesn't think he needs to change. He thinks we're all the problem. So what should I do? That's not my problem anymore. I turned around and walked back inside. Behind me, I heard Alyssa start crying again, but I didn't stop. I just walked through the lobby, up the stairs, back to my apartment, and locked the door. I thought I'd feel satisfied after that conversation, like I'd gotten some kind of closure or revenge or whatever, but instead I just felt hollow. I sat on my couch and stared at the wall, trying to figure out what I was feeling. Then it hit me. Alyssa had wanted me to save her, to give her some secret solution to make Steven love her properly, to make him treat her better, to make him change. But there was no solution. Steven was going to keep doing this, finding women, making them feel special for a while, then slowly dismantling their confidence piece by piece until they were too exhausted to leave or he found someone new. And he genuinely believed he was the victim every time, that these women just changed on him. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure to like and subscribe to not miss the next story.